Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So as you can see from the thumbnail and the title, this is going to be an intro eye makeup video. And I started doing this a couple months ago and I did a face makeup 101 and I really wanted to take the time to go through all of the different eye shapes. So today I'm going to be doing a halo eye. As you can see, I pretty much always do a smoked out and almond-y eye because my eyes are kind of downturned and I don't think halos are really that flattering to my eye shape, but they're so pretty. So I'm going to walk you guys through how to do that. If that's something you're into, make sure to keep on watching. And please don't forget, I do upload twice a week. So if you want to stay up to date on all the fun stuff I'm posting, make sure to subscribe. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So for today, I'm going to be doing a halo eye with 4 brushes. I know I normally go in with like 9, but the 4 you're going to need. This is the Morphe R37. It is just a, I used that for translucent powder earlier. It is just a fluffy dome-topped blending brush. You're going to need, this is the Morphe M573. It is a pointy-tipped blending brush. They don't have to be Morphe, I just picked these ones. This is the Sigma E45. It is a pointy blender brush. This is going to fit right into the crease and help us define our crease shape. And the last one is an M167. It is a flat synthetic brush, and that's just going to help us pick up and deposit the color. And for this, I'm going to be using the Dream Street palette from KathleenLights. I wanted to go for something accessible, affordable, but still kind of exciting because it only came out a couple months ago. Months ago. And I'm going to start with the fluffy brush, and I'm going to be tapping into, this is going to be fun getting all these shade names right. This is the shade Shooting Star. It is right here. I'm going to take that as a transition shade and dust that in the entire crease. But normally I would concentrate the color out here. For today, I'm going to be dragging it all the way into the inner corner. Now, one of the first big pieces of advice I can give you for a halo eye is you want to make sure that you gently build up the color. Like I tapped in like 8 times on the color rather than going in with a lot and trying to blend it out. When you're going in with such a defined shape, you want to make sure that you're not going overboard because it's going to get very muddy and it's going to start to look unblended. Next, I'm going to be taking Magical, which is the very pretty orangey toned brown, and I'm going to, on just the flat side of the brush, not on the tip, I'm going to take that under the crease where we just put all that other color just to kind of tone it, and it's going to give you a little bit of that initial gradient. And then with no additional product, we're just going to turn the brush on its side and just blend everything together. Now we're going to move on to the smaller brush. And I'm going to be taking this medium brown right here called Potion. And I'm going to put that right into the socket of the eye and just start blending that into the crease as well. So next, I'm going to be going into the pointy brush. This is the Sigma E45. And I'm going to be taking Elfish, which is the chocolate brown in the palette. And just on the very tip of the brush, I'm going to take a little bit, and I'm going to place that right into the socket of the eye and just start to define out the outside of the eye. So now that we have that general round eye shape down, what I'm going to want to do is, it's looking like where the brown meets the crease. It's very diffused, but I want a little bit more warmth. So I'm going to go into, trying to figure out what these names are. Trying to go into Spark, which is the soft off salmon color. Just a little bit on the tip of the brush. I'm just going to buff over that, and that's just going to add a little bit more warmth into the crease. And now to make it a halo eye, we're going to go into the Morphe M167. Normally, I actually used to use more of a fluffy flat brush. This is the Morphe M433, it's the dupe for the MAC 217. But I noticed when I was pressing the color on, because it's so fluffy, I was kind of just getting product everywhere. With something so flat and synthetic, you can literally just press it in and it goes exactly where you want it. So I'm going to be going back into Elfish, the chocolate brown, and I'm just going to kind of press into the pan twice or 3 times just to get a little bit of that product. And now where that line is in the eye, we're just going to go up to it, and on the inner and outer portion of the eye, just start bringing that brown towards the center of the lid, and we're going to slowly build that up. Now the first piece of blending we're going to do is we're going to go back into the pointy brush because we already used it for this color, and we're just going to blend around that crease just so that we can really define where those colors meet without blowing it out everywhere. I want to use this because this is going to diffuse away some of the brown on that line before we go into an actual like fluffy blending brush, and that's just going to keep us from fluffing that brown everywhere. And once that is blended out a little bit, I'm going to go back into that smaller, it's kind of the medium of the blending brushes, and I'm going to go back into Spark, the off salmon shade, and I'm just going to blend the crease. And then going on the clean side of that flat brush, we are just going to blend all of this brown towards the lid. Now at this point on that first fluffy brush, we're going to go back into Magical, this shade right here. No, that's not Magical. I've been doing this all day. Oh no, I'm right, I'm sorry. Going back into Magical, I'm just going to blend above the crease just to diffuse out some of that color a little more. And that was our transition shade. And then going back into Shooting Star, the initial transition shade, we're just going to take that over the whole crease. And this is just going to help to kind of tone that brown and make it less muddy if you start to overblend. So now the general eye shape is there. I'm going to take a little bit more of that brown on the flat synthetic brush just to build up that color on the inner and outer portion of the eye. And then back into that medium fluffy brush to blend out the crease. So now this is the point where if you kind of got a little messy, you can cut the crease with concealer and put it over the lid. I am pretty comfortable with the brushes I use and how I do it, so I'm not actually going to need any concealer. So instead, on the clean side of that synthetic brush, I am going to tap into a little bit of Sweet Dreams, this champagne shade right here, and then I'm just going to spray it with Fix Plus and press that on the lid. And then back into that fluffy brush, we are just going to blend out the edges. And now at this point, the basic shape of the halo is done. You just want to pat the edges just to make sure that you are blended nicely. And then I always like to kind of amp it up a little bit more by going in with something with a little bit more sparkle. So I am going to grab from Hank and Henry Beauty. This is the El Jefe My Alter Ego kit. And I'm going to, I always have such an issue getting this open. I'm going to be going into the Luster Lights, which is the loose pearlized pigment. And I'm going to tap that on the brush, spray a little bit of Fix Plus, and then press that into the center of the lid just to add a little bit more sparkle. And as always, don't forget to blend. So I'm just going to go change and finish up the face, and I will come back to do the lower lash line. Okay, so I still have more to do on the face, and I didn't want to do the eyes after everything was done. It's a long story. Anyway, so next thing I'm going to do is on a pencil brush, going back into Elfish. Yes, going back into Elfish, that brown. I'm just going to define that shape once more, just because that halo went a little bit higher than I wanted to, and that pointy brush was a little too pointy. I want a little bit more definition of that brown above where that halo goes. But I will be going into the pointy brush to blend it out. So I'm gonna throw a Nude, this is the Makeup Geek Full Spectrum Liner, in the waterline really quickly, just because I will be laying shadow over it, but I find that this gives me a nice base for the shadows to stick. Now on a smaller and clean pencil brush, I'm gonna take that initial transition shade right here, Shooting Star, and I'm just going to set down and buff out that liner. Now I always like to set down my creams. So they last all day. So next, on that larger initial pencil brush, I'm gonna go into Potion, I can't read. I'm gonna go into Potion, the Camel Brown, and I'm gonna take that from the outer portion of the eye to about where the pupil is, and leave the center blank. Then going back to the smaller brush, I'm gonna take Elfish, the brown, and I'm going to take that on just the outer portion of the eye. Now, if you have very round eyes, I would recommend taking that on the inner portion as well. But for me, since my eyes, they're a little downturned, I need to have a little bit of more darkness here than here, just to trick the eye into looking up, even if it is a rounder shape. So on that small pencil brush, I am just going to blend all of that together. Then on a very small precision brush, this is the M213 from Morphe, I'm going to take Moony, the soft highlight shade right here, and I am going to take that on the brow bone. And I'm going to take a little bit of that onto the inner corner. Now I know I'm usually known to do a glittery inner corner or something super over the top, but when I do a halo eye, I want to naturally augment the inner corner, but I don't want it to stand out because I do want that focus to still be on the center of the lid. Then on the same brush, and the reason I did the inner corner first is because I'm going to use the same brush, I'm just going to go to a darker shade. I'm going to be taking Sweet Dreams, that champagne shade we used, and I'm going to take that on the entire center of the waterline. And we just want to kind of mirror what we're doing on top on the bottom. And then with a little pencil brush, I'm just going to blend the edges. Now, I do not like to do liner when I do a halo eye because I find that I want to kind of accentuate the piece that's there. And since I do have very hooded eyes, if I add any liner, I'm basically eliminating the whole halo. So I'm going to go finish up the face, throw on just mascara, and then change, and I'll be right back. And that's the finished look. So I hope this helped if you were struggling with halo eyes. Like when you break it down into like 4 brushes and a couple colors, it's really not that difficult. So leave me a comment down below if this was helpful or what you want to see, because I'm happy to do intro level stuff and really like break down eyes, lip lining, like anything, how to apply fake lashes, whatever you guys are interested in seeing, let me know down below because I would be happy to do it. And I will see you next time. Bye.